Let's just say you spent a ton of time creating this awesome podcast episode and you put it out via, iTunes and Stitcher Radio and all of those amazing places that you put podcasts out. You did know that there's more than one place besides just iTunes, right? Yes. Okay, good. So you put your podcast out and a few people listen to it and it's great. And then you put another episode out and that one gets pushed down and pushed down further. And then, 2, 3, 4 weeks after it was put out, what happened? Did you just put all of this effort into creating this amazing piece of content for it to go out once and then start gathering dust? No, of course you didn't. You invested time, you invested probably money, and a lot of effort into creating this piece of content, whether it's a podcast or a blog post or a Facebook Live video. It doesn't matter. You just put time and energy into creating this piece of content, and now you really should be getting the most out of it. And today on Delegate This, we're talking about how to use a virtual team to get the most out of every piece of content you create. Don't you love it? I love it. So most of the clients that I work with, they have one, maybe two mediums that they tend to like to communicate in. So they might be great doing videos like this, or they're very auditorily kind of geared, and so they do really well creating podcasts. Others love to write, but if you ask them to get in front of a video screen, they're like, not happening, right? So maybe you can relate. What medium do you prefer? I'm kind of that video / writer kind of person. Actually, I kind of balance all between all of them. I'm good with whatever. The one I don't do well with is I don't watch video that often. I don't mind recording them, but I don't watch them too often. So when it comes to taking that one communication style and using it in other ways, that's probably where you struggle. It naturally comes to you to communicate in that one way, but then utilizing that and repurposing it in other ways is going to be hard for you. And that's really where a virtual team is going to shine for you, because they're going to take their skill set and take your communication, that piece of content that you created the first time, and make it usable for more types of audiences. They're going to make it so that you can reuse that single piece of content over and over again in different ways. So let's talk about a few of the different ways that are just magical when we do this. So the first one we're going to talk about is taking your blog content and turning that into videos for social media. Now, if you kind of take a look at my blog content, I do this a lot. I'll take a blog post and I send that off to my video editors. They create this teaser video for me that I put up on social media that encourages people to go back to my blog post and read it. It'll give them just enough of a little tip here and there, or a little teaser to give them some insight. And so when I post on social media, sometimes I might post the still image, sometimes I might post the whole opening paragraph as just text-based, and sometimes I'll post as the video to kind of capture the different types of audiences that might be viewing my content. Even if it's a year later, they might still be seeing that post, and as long as it's an evergreen post, they can still benefit from the content that's shared in there. And number 2 is turn your podcast into a blog article, or even an article that's posted on LinkedIn or Medium or some other written format. We can even take your podcast and create show notes out of that so that you can then get the content, the written portion, and be able to use that in other ways. And link back to the podcast for those individuals that want to listen to it as an audio format. But for those of us that just love to scan the content, we can scan quickly a written content and get the nuggets out of it and get the juice out of it. So we can do that for you. And number 3 is to take a really long article that you've written and turn that into bite-sized nuggets. We can also do this with podcasts or videos or whatever content you've created. If you have a longer piece, perhaps you are a speaker and you go out and speak and you have an hour-long presentation that you do, we can take that and pull out the little nuggets of it and create those as social media posts for you. We can create graphics around them, or we can just post the written content, or if it's in a video format, we can chop those videos down into bite-sized chunks, 10 minutes or less, so that people can enjoy, kind of getting all of that content, and they don't necessarily have to sit there and spend a whole hour watching something that they don't want to consume that much of. So those are great little tips. Number 4, let's say you just recorded this amazing Facebook video. It was a live video and you didn't necessarily think that it was ever gonna go anywhere, but you just kind of hit the record button, went live, and it was some really incredible content. Well, your virtual team can actually help you turn that into an evergreen video for YouTube. We can cut out the pieces where maybe you're saying hi to different people, or it's clear that it's a live video when it's no longer live. We can chop those things out of it so that it makes more sense in a format that's going to be more evergreen. And that's a really great tool to reuse some of those Facebook Lives. We can also even convert those so that you can then repost them on Instagram, for example. Take them and break them up into those, shorter chunks of video that work well or work better on Instagram stories. Number 5 is we can take all of this content you've created and help you create an opt-in freebie. If you're looking to build out your newsletter and you need to have something that's going to entice people to sign up, a freebie, then using your existing content is a great way to create a freebie. Trust me, even if stuff is all over your podcast or a blog, they can go search for it and find any of that content. They're not going to take the time to do that. Those that do are going to be your clients in a heartbeat, but most people are not going to really dig that deep into your stuff. So taking that and wrapping it up into a nice little package and sending that out is either a video course or a guide or something like that is a great way to repurpose the content that you've already created. And that virtual A team can help you do that for you. So the first step in really doing this and figuring out how do you want to repurpose your content is deciding how you want to use it. What's the goal that you have in mind? Whether it's to get more people back to your website or get more guests on your podcast, it might be to increase the follower count on your social media so that then you have more potential to reach influencers or something like that. Creating these goals is really that first step in figuring out how to best repurpose all of the content. These are just some of the ideas that you're going to want to look into. There's definitely many more depending on your business and how you like to communicate. So let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. Feel free to sign up for your conversation at delegatesmarter.com. And don't forget to check out this episode.